The boys of Burgess Hall are celebrating some renovations.
USF Theater Department wraps up their latest production.
And the sports takes a sneak peek into basketball.
All this and more coming up next on College Week.
The Jeske Fine Arts Center on the campus of the University of Sioux Falls. This is a 5-minute College Week news update.
Good morning, I'm Alex Bahney.
And I'm Michelle Jacobs. Thanks for joining us. So we have Hannah Olson on Crosstalk today.
Yeah, Hannah Olson will be here, and we got some nice things going in sports right now. So,
Burgess Hall is not known for its spectacular lounge, but thanks to our very own makeover team, Burgess is finally getting rebuilt. Last week, the project began as two 50-inch flat screens and one 40-inch flat screen television were added to the lounge. John Hyatt, the Vice President of Institutional Advancement at USF, is the man behind the makeover. With the help of Alex Heinert, the current Burgess Resident Director, and the Burgess Hall alumni, all the funds for the makeover have been raised by current and past residents of the Burge. With these updates, all those involved say their hopes are to attract new students and to provide the community back into the Hall of Burgess. For more information on the updates and to see photos of what has been done, become a fan of Rebuild Burgess on Facebook.
last week, the University of Sioux Falls welcomed over 1,000 elementary-age children to the theater for the production of Page to Stage. For many of the children, it was their first experience with performing arts. The last theater performance of the school year is Guys and Dolls. Open auditions will be held this March 7th and 8th from 6 to 8 p.m. in the Meredith Auditorium. Check your campus email for more details.
Though the Middle East is far from South Dakota in distance, the recent turmoil has still hit close to home for some. Reporter Cameron Keyes has more on just how much it has impacted one Sioux Falls student.
In January, Augustana band students traveled to Egypt for what appeared to be a standard interim trip. What they experienced instead was history in the making. When riots and protests broke out in Cairo on the 25th, Rachel Cartridge was among the students trapped in Egypt.
When we got back to Cairo, we went to our downtown hotel. We were eating supper on the top floor, and we could hear some people shouting. We went out to the balcony, and we could see them walking by, and the police were kind of shooing them away, and then they gathered back up, and everyone was running, and the cars were crazy, and they were going every direction, and it was just backed up everywhere.
Soon after the riots took full force, the students were moved to a more secure location.
Our tour guides were in talk with the tourism police the whole time. And so that morning, Friday is their day of prayer, so that's their big day that everybody's off. And then they told us that we were leaving at 11:45 and their prayer starts at noon. So they had it strategically planned out for us to leave at a certain time so we didn't run into anything. And then they took us out to the airport mall to spend a few hours, and then until our hotel we could check in, and then we were at the hotel right by the airport, so we weren't anywhere close to any of the riots for the last few days.
Despite any danger Cartridge may have been in, she says it was worth the experience.
Yeah, it's been pretty fun to kind of see what their people have been able to do, and they're so proud of themselves, and it's just been a lot of fun to keep track of, and I pick up the newspaper every once in a while to keep for my scrapbook.
For College Week,
it's cool to be a part of history.
I'm Cameron Keyes.
So Alex, you watched the Oscars this weekend. How do you think it went?
I did, and I was a little disappointed, but I wasn't because there were some good wins and some bad wins, but I thought The Social Network deserved Best Picture, but in the end that's not how it happened, so oh well. On Sunday, the 83rd Annual Academy Awards were presented, with King's Speech being the biggest recipient on the night. They walked away with 4 Oscars, including Best Actor, Colin Firth, Best Original Screenplay, Best Director, and Best Picture. Best Actress went to Natalie Portman for Black Swan, while Best Supporting Actress went to Melissa Leo for The Fighter. The Fighter also received an Oscar for Best Supporting Male Actor, Christian Bale.
Coming up next, Beth Salisbury sits down with student Hannah Olson. Don't...
Good morning and welcome to another edition of Crosstalk. I'm Beth Salisbury. Today I have the esteemed pleasure of sitting down with Hannah Olson, the KCFS News Director. Hannah, thanks so much for being here today.
Well, thanks for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
As the News Director, how did that job come about?
Well, my freshman year, I found out I would be eligible for work study coming out of my sophomore year, and Dr. Schlinker talked to me about it and made sure that I was going to be in the media department, and I mean, of course, like, I love this place, so I was like, oh yeah, sure, definitely. And so coming in on my sophomore year, he talked to me and he's like, would you like to do the KCFS News? Because the two students that had been doing it kind of moved on to different positions, and so there was nobody doing it, and I was like, oh sure, you know. So that was kind of how it came about.
And as the news director, what do you do specifically for the news?
Basically, like, I come in usually in the afternoon, anytime between like noon and 5-ish, and just kind of get the main stories for the day, do news going on the campus, events and stuff going on, try to get some stuff going on in the Sioux Falls area. If there's not too much in Sioux Falls going on, then we go to state, and then maybe hit some national stories, and then just like record them and make sure they get on there.
And are you the only person doing the news?
Right now I am. I'm always willing, like, if someone else wants to help, that would be like awesome. You know, very willing to like have someone help out, however, but right now, yep, I'm the only one doing it.
And do you see this as a possible careers, like just doing something like this for a news station later on down the road, or is it something you're going to stick with mainly, but just within college?
Possibly. Like, I'm not super, like, listening to the news and keeping updated with the news, and like I've always had a love for that. Like, growing up, I'd listen to the news like every afternoon usually when I was in my teen years. But producing it's like it's a different feel, and like I'm not super, I don't tend super a lot towards the journalism side of media stuff, but possibly I like the aspect of getting the news recorded and out, and I love radio too. So.
And I know you have a radio show for KCFS, so do you incorporate your news within your radio show, or do you just save that for recording for the news?
Yeah, I've tried that, and it was kind of an utter fail. Because usually it's kind of a conflict, because I usually have my radio show on Thursdays, and it's been like last semester I did 2:30 to 5, and this semester I've been trying to do like 3 to 5, but then it really messes timing up and stuff like that, and I tried doing it at the end of my show, and yeah, that didn't work so well. So I learned my lesson there, but you know, yeah, I'm still kind of juggling that around, trying to get the scheduling figured out for that. It's kind of, we'll get there, I hope.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. And that wraps up another edition of Crosstalk. Up next, we have sports with Brett Geese.
And now we'll hear from our sports reporter, Brett Geese.
So, Brett, we got some big sports news this week.
Yep, with wrestling nationals, you got basketball playoffs, and track also has nationals this weekend.
Sounds pretty good.
Yes, it does. For the third straight season, the 15th ranked USF men's basketball team will play in the GPAC championship game tonight against unranked Dordt College. This is the third matchup between the schools this year, with both teams winning on the road. On February 9, Dordt walked into the Stewart Center and won by 2 in overtime. And 5 days later, the Cougars went to Dordt and won by 1. Game time is at 7 tonight in the Stewart Center. Also in Cougar athletics, the USF track team will compete in the national track meet in Geneva, Ohio later this week. For a list of who is competing, go to www.usfcougars.com. And now we'll kick it over to Sayer Bettinger, who has a little bit of inside look on wrestling.
The University of Sioux Falls wrestling squad has endured a tough season, playing a good amount of tough teams, something Coach Tim Homan says has made them better.
We wrestled the Division II guys. We've wrestled Augustana, which is they're number 2 in the nation right now in Division II. We've wrestled, I think, 4 top 20 Division II teams in our duels, and then 2 or 3 top 10 NAIA teams. So we wrestle the best that we can, and we're just basically trying to, we got to wrestle the best to be the best, and that's what we got to do.
So far, Joe Scow, Casey Finicum, Shea Cluster, and Clint McKee have all qualified for nationals. Coach Homan describes what he hopes to accomplish at nationals.
We're hoping to be able to score some points and maybe hopefully come home with a couple All-Americans, but things got to come just right for you when you get to the national tournament.
Individually, a couple of wrestlers are enjoying record-breaking seasons, but by a team effort, so is the community.
Well, Joe Scow, he's tied the record for most wins in a season right now with 24, and one more he breaks the record. Casey Finicum has broke the record for number of falls in the season. We have a team record with 45 falls, and that comes in handy. We have a thing called Pick Up the Sticks, where we have people donate so much a pin that we have, and then we like to do our community service at the furniture mission in town. And so for every stick, half the money that we raise will go to the furniture mission when we collect it, and then the half will stay with the team.
Nationals are March 3rd through 5th in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. To keep up with all Cougar wrestling and other athletics, go to www.usfcougars.com. For College Week, I'm Sarah Bettinger.
To stay caught up in all U.S. athletics, go to www.usfcougars.com.
And that wraps up another edition of USF College Week. I'm Michelle Jacobs.
And I'm Alex Bahney. Have a great day.